We must not forget what flying really means. One of the most important components on any aircraft is the pilot. With all the required pre-flight inspection before takeoff, the pilot has a big responsibility of maneuvering a complicated piece of equipment through the air with passengers that rely on him for their safety.
So now let's go see the pilot. Hello, my name is Tanishka. How are you?
Very good, Tanishka. I'm Barry Biggs. I'll be flying with you today.
Okay.
You looking forward to that?
Yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
good. I'd like to show you my plane.
Sure.
Okay. You saw earlier that we filled up the plane with fuel while you were up coming out. So that's all done now. So now I do a pre-flight. So I want to walk around the plane and show you the important things we look for before we take off. So first of all, I start with the wings to make sure the controls, which allow me to turn left and right, as you can see inside, are working properly here. Walk back to the plane, make sure my tires look good, nothing unusual underneath the plane, and then walk back along the side. I've got to lock the door before I take off, so that's something we don't want to forget about yet. So remind me to do that. And then make sure that there's no loose objects here. And then equally important back here is the horizontal stabilizer, which allows us to climb or descend. So I will make sure that this is working smoothly and is free to move. And the horizontal stabilizer, which allows us to coordinate our turns, is free. And it's looking good so far. So then I continue walking around, and the same thing on this side as well. And it feels as it should, proper. So checking again on this side, this will be the co-pilot's door where we'll get you inside later on. The tires looked inflated properly, and I'm going back out on this wing to make sure I had the same ease of motion on my control surfaces. That feels good and looks good. Walk out to the end of the wing, and just looking for anything out of the ordinary, and then come back towards the engine here. Here in the front, I'm looking for any obstructions with the engine, as well as to make sure I've got no nicks on the prop. This is what's going to pull us through the air, and it's looking real good right now. So basically, I've come a full circle here, and I think we're good to go at this point.
So what's the most important piece of equipment on your screen or at your hands, and why?
Well, on the instrument panel, the two most important things basically is direction and altimeter. So basically, we have a very busy air traffic area around Denver. As a consequence, I need to maintain my proper altitude as instructed by air traffic control and the proper heading. And then, addition to that, airspeed is important too. Then looking outside, because there's so much traffic, it's my eyeballs. I've got to keep a scan going to make sure that the other air traffic control is keeping clear of other airplanes. So that's a constant job. So not just one thing, unfortunately.
So do you have any special things that you want to point out that we may find interesting?
Well, in the last 10 years, the technology on airplanes has changed that now most pilots are flying with a portable device, which you would recognize as an iPad. And this device, which you're very familiar with now, can show me exact location of where the plane's sitting on a moving map, and direction versus all the other components. You can see a map of the airport, and it shows my plane on the airport on this map right here. And as I taxi around or get into the air, it shows exactly where I am in relationship to where I'm going, where I've been, altitude, and other things we need to avoid while we're in the air. So even though I have 30 instruments in front of me, I spend a lot of time with this on my knee and fly with this as much as anything else. And I'm not a pilot that only does that. Most pilots have these in the cockpit, either on the panel or on the knee.
Where's your favorite place to go with this plane?
Well, in Colorado, I enjoy flying up to the mountain communities. Steamboat, we've done that a number of times. Leadville, which is close by, it's the highest airport in North America. So just the mountain part of flying is the more challenging but more fun when you go there. It's just a beautiful scenery. And then up and down the Front Range, we fly to Santa Fe and north to see relatives as well.
As we finish up the last of the pre-flight inspection items, the time has come as they have announced a final boarding for our flight. So let's turn off all of our mobile devices, fasten our seatbelts, and prepare for takeoff.
Okay, so I'm going to take a right here. I'm not going to follow him exactly. I'm just going to go out behind him and do what's called a run-up. So I'm going to where that other plane is out here, test all the instruments and avionics and engines. So right now I'm going to check my controls for flexibility and free movement, and look out the left window there and you see a T-2 Texan. That's a military plane that's being used by students who are in the military to learn how to fly. So those guys, it's a turbine engine with ejection seats. He's going to do the same thing we're doing. He's doing a run-up. Primer's in and locked. Fuel selectors on both. So those are the guy in the back seat is the instructor. The guy in the front seat is the student. Okay, so now we're going to run up our engine to 1700 RPMs on the scale here. So we've got the brakes on, and we're just going to do a little bit of an engine test. So we're at 1700 RPMs, not as much as I'd use for takeoff. And I'm checking my magnetos. So my left mag, it drops 100 RPMs, which is normal and expected. Back to full on both, it's back to 1700. My right mag drops another 100 RPMs, which is correct. Check for carburetor heat, we should get a drop here, and we do. And we check for the RPMs on the engine, our prop, as I come back on the prop, and it drops as it should. We do that twice for good circulation. He's doing the same thing next door. I'm looking at all my gauges here. Amps are good, pressures are good, temperatures are good, and suction's good. Coming back, and then I'm going to actually, before I come back, I'm going to lean out the engine for the altitude. So I'm changing the fuel mixture here. I'm looking for a drop, and I may get that in a second. And here we have a drop. I go back to where it was, and then 3 half turns takes me where I want to be for takeoff. So I'm coming back on the prop. So that's the engine check, and everything is still good. Centennial ground, Skylane 1279 Mike is at Alpha run up north, Alpha 1, with Foxtrot for a southeast departure.
The 907 Mike, verify that you're in the Alpha North run up area.
1279 Mike is now Alpha North run up area.
That's the 907 Mike. Okay, follow the Texan off your left, runway 17 left, taxi via Alpha.
We'll follow the Texan, taxi via Alpha to Alpha 1, 17 left, 79 Mike.
That's 97 Mike, thank you, monitor tower.
Hey, I'm going to look to make sure there's no traffic, which I always do out of habit. Looks good. Going to line up on the runway.
I'm sorry, that was Cessna 413 Foxtrot Romeo.
403 Foxtrot Romeo.
Lined up. And you all guys ready to go?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. All set.
Cessna 473 Foxtrot Romeo, Centennial Tower. Enter left downwind, runway 17 left.
Left Bravo 12, remain on your frequency.
Okay, we're going to lift up the nose here in a second.
Contact Denver departure.
Okay, lifting.
Left heading 100, contact Denver departure.
We're off the ground.
Centennial Tower, Cessna 908-954. I want to come in and do touch and goes with information Gulf, and we are over the Pinery.
Cessna 98954, Centennial Tower. Your radio is broken. Ident, enter left downwind, runway 17 left.
Enter downwind for 17 left, 954.
Okay, we're going 100 miles an hour right now, or 90 miles an hour at the moment.
Touch and goes, 954.
3 Tango Charlie, hold short, runway 17 left at Bravo 8.
Hold short, runway 17 left at Bravo 8.
Then we're going to take a left turn here shortly, but not yet.
Tower 2720 Papa, 8 miles west of Gulf, full stop.
Showing a 90 Centennial Tower, fly runway heading, runway 17 left, clear for takeoff.
Runway heading 17 left, clear for takeoff, John.
That's a jet taking off behind us.
720 Papa Centennial Tower, enter a right base, runway 17 left, and report half mile south of the reservoir.
So I'm going to level off at 7,500 feet.
Sierra, pursuit direct spaz. Contact.
And I'm going to close the prop a little bit. We'll change the engine controls here. Blow the engine down because it's done all the job it needs to do, so it doesn't have to climb as much anymore. Level off around 7,500 feet. I'm going to fly up to the Aurora Reservoir up here. You don't want to fly when there's, windy, stormy weather. I mean, you can do it, but it's just not comfortable. But this type of plane is used by the Civil Air Patrol all over the country, and especially in Colorado, because it's able to go into the mountains. It has the extra horsepower. So Kanishka, you want to grab the control here while I'm on it too? I'm with you on the control. And what we're going to do is I'm going to actually, as we go this way, I'm going to move to the right. I'm going to make a slow right turn. I'm going to get out of their airspace. There's Buckley Airfield over here, and we want to stay out of their airfield. We can see the runway right to the left of us, about 7 or 8 miles. So you're flying the plane as you like to.
Yeah. They're coming out of the north now. They just switched. They're 360.
Now it's going to the left a little bit, as you can see, so you're going to come back to the right.
You're going to expect runway 35 left, with probably like a U-turn there, but just continue straight out and contact tower 123.7.
And there's bumps here. It's just like going down a bumpy road on a dirt road. The plane is structurally very, very strong. And now we're going up again, so we're just going to very slightly reduce the back brake. Very good, very good. And now we're going down a little, it's hard to tell, and I'm so sensitive to it, it's easy for me to say, but yeah, you got it pretty close.
Okay, thank you.
Doing very good. But this is flying. This is what it's all about, and it's relaxing, and you can get it so it's just your fingertips around after a while, so it's not so intense. But that's what I'm about. So what I'm going to do now is head back to the Aurora Reservoir. You can stay on the controls with me. I'm going to take a left turn, and looks like we're all clear to do that. And I'm going to come around to the left, and we're going to bank around about 20 degrees. Centennial Tower, Skylane 1279 Mike is over Aurora Reservoir with hotel inbound full stop.
November 127 Mike, Centennial Tower. Hotel is now current. We're using runway 35 right. Enter right downwind for runway 35 right.
Right downwind for 35 right with hotel 127 Mike. I'm going to take a left turn here.
November 1279 Mike, as you join the right downwind for 35 right, you'll be following traffic a mile final at Cutlass. You're number 2, runway 35 right, clear to land, winds come.
Clear to land, 1279 Mike, 35 right. It's cleared us to land on the runway where we took off on. But we're going to land to the north, different direction. Okay, so this is the landing coming up. So the runway's lined up. We got about 85 miles an hour.
This is Skyhawk 447 Golf at Aurora Reservoir, transitioning to
See the jet waiting for us to land?
Metro.
Is approved.
Roger, approved 447 Golf. Tower 7 Alpha Quebec, we still don't have our traffic.
7 Alpha Quebec, your traffic, you're over the runway now.
7 Alpha Quebec, thank you.
Welcome to Centennial Airport. Local time is noon and it is 60 degrees. Ladies and gentlemen, the pilot has taken off the fasten seatbelt sign. You are free to leave the cabin and drive down the runway.